Tennessee WildCast is live on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. We're glad you're joining in, and today I've got Mr. Don King helping me co-host. How you doing, Don?
Doing great, Jason. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, glad you're here, and it's been a few shows since you've been with us.
I know, it has been.
So we're glad you're here, and we got a lot going on. We got a pro shop partner here with us today. Visit Humphrey'sCounty.com. I said it again. I said county. It's visithumphreys.com. So make sure you check that out. And they're our pro shop partner today. And we have Mr. David Daniels with us. He's going to be our spokesperson. So I'm going to widen out here a little bit so you can see him. And we appreciate him being with us today. How's it going, David?
Very, very good to be here. Appreciate you letting me come back.
Did I say it?
David,
That's
Daniel
okay.
Without the S.
I did
right?
say it.
One
It's all
Daniel.
right.
It never fails. All right. David Daniel, visithumphreys.com. Okay. Today we're going to be talking about the FSO Bass Tournament Series. You host that and got that going. And so how'd the season go? It just wrapped up here recently.
It did. We wrapped up the end of June. I came on earlier in the year to talk about it here on this show and promote it a little bit, and it was great. We got a lot of feedback from that. I think it was shared around quite a bit. Everybody was happy, and as a celebrity as I'm ever going to be, I guess,
All
thanks
right.
to you guys.
Yeah, you're famous.
The turnout was good. We had a great year, and we wrapped it up the last weekend of June with a 2-day classic. It was a Friday and Saturday is what it was, and we had almost 40, or maybe a little over 40 boats. A couple great guys that won the tournament. They won $5,000.
Wow.
And some product, and it was just good for my business with First Stop Outdoors, good for the county, good for the lake. Just a good event all the way around.
Yeah. So are we seeing pretty good conditions on the water right now in that area?
It's getting better. It got pretty tough from June, July, and the first of the month, but I'm seeing some pretty good posts of some fish and hearing that people are actually getting out and catching pretty big stringers. So
Yeah.
it's getting better, and it should only get better with time as we move into the fall.
So, and your tournaments, remind us when those start next year.
This past year, and it worked out well. We started in March, so we did March, April, and May, and then the classic was in June. So
Okay.
we've done a few more in the past, and this was the fewest amount of tournaments that we had to qualify for the classic. But be looking for us. We'll put a calendar out sometime December or January with the dates, and as of right now, they'll be all out of Pebble Isle Marina again down in Humphreys County. If anything changes, we'll be sure to let everybody know.
Okay. And your website, that's probably the best place for you to find that calendar?
It is. We have two websites. One is firststopoutdoors.com, and that's kind of a general about the store and the business itself. And then we created a new website this year specifically for the tournament series, and that's FSOTeamBass.com. So FSOTeamBass.com, and that has the results from the tournaments and pictures and all the sponsors and really any other major tournaments that are going on they're highlighted on that site as well. So if you're into bass fishing, you need to bookmark FSOTeamBass.com.
That's good. Jason and I got to visit the store a while back.
Oh, yeah?
And there is nothing in there that you need that is not in your store.
That's kind of what we
I've
like
made
to
that
say. It's a
discovery.
one-stop shop for
Yeah.
anybody that's the outdoors, everything from fuel to license, food, drinks, tackle, everything
Yeah.
there. So
And then next door is your hunting supplies.
it is, yeah.
So
So I don't get to that store at 4 a.m. like I do, I don't like they do at the convenience store. But it's a pretty hopping little place every day, I can tell you. We get a lot of support, and a lot of folks from out of town. For the years that store has been there, that's kind of a landmark that they go to when they come in, and it's really neat to see all the people that come through.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's highlight some things here in Humphreys County. There's a lot going on in your area. There are 3 upcoming events that we want to highlight. The first one's coming up on the 25th of August. Sweat for a Vet. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's an event there. They're going to start on the 25th of this month, and it'll start at the Elks Lodge there in Waverly. It's right off of West Main Street. It's real easy to find if you come in from Highway 13. And to come to Humphreys County, for any of the events that we talk about, whether it's the fishing tournament or any of these special events that we have, or to shop, we're at exit 143. I tell folks we're almost right between Jackson and Nashville. On I-40, and it's the Loretta Lynn exit. That's kind of, everyone knows
That's
it.
the landmark,
it's
isn't
Buffalo is what it's called, that little community there, but it's the
Uh-huh.
Loretta Lynn exit 143, and of course Waverly's about 15 miles north of that. But the Elks Lodge is on West Main Street, and this is an event for veterans, and it's a day-long event starting out with a 5K run and a bike ride, and then moving out to Loretta Lynn's ranch out there for some games and festivities at that site. And, we were talking about it earlier. It's such a good venue out there. It's thousands of acres. There's really everything you could want. There's plenty of parking. There's entertainment. It's beautiful. It's just very scenic.
Anything you want.
Camping, they have some cabins there. It's just a few miles from Buffalo, where we have all of our local hotels there. We got some good chain hotels there, so a lot of food, a great restaurant out there. The Log Cabin restaurant's very popular, been there for years, kind of. So we have us in Waverly, and then the Log Cabin out at the interstate. My buddy runs that. He's a big supporter of the outdoors, and it's just a good location. So that'll be a good event that day on the 25th.
Well, speaking of Loretta Lynn's ranch, coming up on the 30th,
Gospel Fest.
Yeah. That's a 4-day event, looks like, at Loretta Lynn's Ranch, and featuring Shenandoah.
Yeah,
if you're familiar with them.
That's kind of an old school band there, but making their tour, great music. Loretta Lynn usually has, if there's a concert out there, it does well, and that's a really good one. I understand that is a pretty big event that's taking place there. You stretch something out over 3 or 4 days, it needs to be, and I'm sure it will. So, and both of those events, the events for the vets and the Gospel Fest, is open to the public. Anybody can travel in, and there's plenty of places for them to stay and be taken care of while they're there.
Looks like Thursday's going to be a bring your instrument and play along with the band day.
It is.
Like
I think they're actually
session.
maybe some sort of a talent show in there now.
Yeah.
Gospelfest.com. If anyone has any or wants any more information, that would be the place to go. Gospelfest.com, and I'm sure there's a link from Visit Humphreys County over to that Gospelfest.com. So.
Cool.
That should be a pretty popular event.
And then, wrapping it up here with these special events on the 8th of September, a 30-mile yard sale. That's a long yard sale.
Yeah, that's the yard seller's dream, I guess. But
I'm sure there's more than just yard sale items in that.
It's
antiques
at
and
least 30 miles, and there's antiques. If you can imagine everybody coming out and lining the roads for this yard sale, and there's a route. Highway 70 runs through Humphreys County, and so does State Highway 13. So they kind of intersect there, and there's a lot of Bakerville Road has a lot of the yard sales on it, and that goes through an area of the county, kind of on the backside of Loretta Lynn's ranch in the Bakerville community, and it's just very scenic. Humphreys County, I said it when I was here before, the Tennessee River, the Duck River, the Buffalo River. It's rural, but then the roads are nice. It's easy to move around. The people there are great. So if you're into yard selling, bring a trailer, bring a truck, bring some cash, and come on to Humphreys County, because there's a lot going on that weekend.
So, and looks like if you go to the Humphreys County Chamber of Commerce site, that'd be a good place to get some more information on that. Phone number is 931-296-4865. So there's quite a few opportunities in Waverly and Humphreys County to enjoy that area. Visit Humphreys.com.
That's right.
Make sure we
don't
forget
right.
that.
Yeah, and put visit in there. Visit Humphreys.com.
Yeah, visit Humphreys.com. So thank you, David, Daniel, for being with us. We appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
It's been a good time, and we're look forward to seeing you again some other time.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Well, today's show, the main beef of the show is going to be about the strategic. Let me get this right. Strategic plan for deer management.
Yeah, and we've got some public meetings coming up regarding that, too. So September 4th, 5th, and 6th, right, Jason?
Yeah, we're going to be doing those on 4th, 5th, and 6th. That's Jackson, Murfreesboro, Knoxville, in that order. So we'll get more details on that from Mr. James Kelly, our deer program leader, and he is joining us now.
All right. Welcome, James.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell us, I know there's a lot of work that goes into a strategic plan. And, a lot of folks listening and watching might not be so familiar with exactly what is a strategic plan? I mean, how deep do you get into details, and what all's involved?
Well, that's a good question. That's one we have to wrestle with, and there's a lot of jargon out there about planning, but I for the sake of simplicity, I just call it a plan. So, and the old saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, and that's kind of what the intent of this strategic plan for deer management is just making sure we are strategic in our direction, and over the next 5 years that we're focusing, our efforts on the right things to kind of move deer management forward.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you've been working with deer for a long time, and you came to us from, and I won't get this right, I think maybe New York was your last area of work, but maybe it might have been somewhere else. But tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are now.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right.
Okay.
New York was my last stop. I've kind of been all over the place. I'm from Pennsylvania. I grew up in Pennsylvania, very rural area, and I did my undergrad in Pennsylvania. Got my undergrad in biology, did my master's degree at the University of Georgia, which is kind of a big deer school. They have a deer lab there, and
Cool.
Dr. Carl Miller he's the leader of the deer lab, and so that's where I got my master's work, working on a coyote deer project, and so actually before I even finished my degree, I finished writing my thesis and got my degree, I got a job with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. So I moved to Tallahassee, and I was the assistant deer program coordinator there for 3 years. And from there is when I had the opportunity in New York as a biometrician, basically a fancy word for working a lot with data. And I worked with their big game section and specialized in basically deer data. But the dream has always been for me to be the state deer guy, and so
Yeah.
that's my role here, and that this opportunity came up, and just couldn't turn it down. So here I am. I've been here a couple years now.
I'd say your experience in both deer management and being the deer program leaders, and then dealing with a lot of data, that helps you come in here and work on this strategic plan. It probably all adds to the experience and adds to the plan, helps it develop, and we're excited to see what comes out of this. We kind of hit on a little bit about what it is, but how long have we been working on this plan? What's the timeline on this?
Yeah, so, well, we've been thinking strategic plan for a long time, and actually, I guess it was last February, not last February, 2 Februarys ago, so February of 2017.
Okay.
We had a formal request from the Tennessee Wildlife Federation for us to develop a strategic plan for deer management, which was great because we were, it's something I was wanting anyway, and our commission agreed that that's something that we should focus on. And
it's not like we've been neglecting the deer herd. We always look at the numbers and stuff, but they just want a little bit more information, a little more in-depth.
And come up with a formal plan, and so everyone's kind of, so it's transparent. Everyone knows kind of the direction of the program. So that's when, they kind of made the request, and shortly after that, we developed a deer team and developed a charter and a roster of a deer team, which is myself as, the chair of the deer team, and we have a biologist from each of our 4 regions, TWRA regions. We have a biologist from our private lands program, a biologist from our forestry program. We have a wildlife officer on the team. Brad Miller, our elk program leader, is also part of the team. I'm probably forgetting somebody, but I think that's the gist of it. So, and that's a big deal, having all those diverse perspectives as part of a team and working in the active development of the plan, and we've done trainings, workshops. We had a retreat called a manager's model workshop where it's like a 3-day retreat, but what was pretty powerful about that was we identified this desired future condition statement, and it's kind of like a vision statement, and I won't share it, but if you come to the public meetings, you'll be able. I don't want to.
I bet there's a PowerPoint slide with
Yeah,
that on it.
yeah. I don't want to spoil anything. So that was pretty powerful, and it wasn't a 5-year desired future condition. It was, it was kind of use your imagination and don't think about constraints. So it could be like 50 to 100 years. And so that was really important. And now with this 5-year plan, we want to make sure we're moving in that direction. And since, or shortly after that retreat, we actually had the privilege of hosting the Southeastern Deer Study Group, which is a professional conference of biologists, deer biologists, particularly in the Southeast, but people from all over the country come. And we actually made the theme of the meeting state agency deer management. And so we were able to learn from that. And right after that, so that was this February of 2018. Right after that is when we got started actually actively writing the plan. And we meet monthly to discuss the plan, iterate, and it's still very much draft, and that's
that leads us to the public meetings, I guess.
Yeah, because we want to engage with our stakeholders and make sure stakeholder desires are reflected in the plan. And so these public meetings that are coming up, we want to learn from the stakeholders, from hunters, from farmers, motorists, anyone who's experiencing impacts from deer. And so
I seen that list in the news release, and I was thinking, why do we want to hear from motorists? Why do we want to hear from farmers and that kind of stuff? So what led to all the suggested visitors to the meetings?
Yeah. So I don't know if you know this or not, but deer can be kind of controversial, or the management of deer.
Yeah. I've hit one with a car.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I could see why motorists probably want to show up.
Yeah. And so what might be a great number of deer for the deer hunter is that doesn't work for maybe a farmer someone in row crop agriculture whose livelihood depends on deer, or in other instances, if there's rare forbs or something, understory plants that are somebody's wanting to preserve, deer can impact that. So deer are a keystone species. It means they can, they don't, once they start reproducing, they don't stop for a long time, and that can lead to problems, to issues. And so we want to hear from all the different diverse perspectives and people who might be experiencing impacts from deer. And impacts can be a positive or a negative thing. And so our charge is to manage it for the resource for everyone, not just sportsmen, but certainly sportsman's a huge part of it. And a lot of times there aren't conflicts, and we can manage it for what sportsmen want. Excuse me.
So, just if you're tuning in, you're just getting in here, the meetings we're talking about are on September 4th, 5th, and 6th, Jackson, Murfreesboro, and Knoxville. Just want to let everybody know that if you're just tuning in. But what kind of we kind of hit on this, but what kind of feedback are we hoping to get? Can people even provide input if they can't attend? How does that work?
Yeah, so for the folks who can attend, what they can expect is we'll share the draft. As I mentioned, the plan is very draft at this point. We'll share our draft goals and objectives, and we want to hear from the people there on where we're heading, get some feedback, and we'll correct course if need be. For those who can't attend the meetings, there will be opportunity to provide input online. Later this fall, we'll have a more complete draft, and we'll have a public comment period, a 30-day public comment period. So everyone will have an opportunity to provide input.
So it's similar to our deer season input period.
Yeah, similar process.
And our plan right now is, Jason, I think you'll back me up on this, is that we're going to try to do a Facebook Live on one of the meetings, and we're thinking it might be the Murfreesboro one, kind of in Middle Tennessee. So, so keep that in mind.
Yeah,
too.
if you follow us on Facebook and watch our live segments on Facebook and can't make a meeting and want to tune into that one, we're hoping to do that. If James is okay with that and his team.
No pressure.
No pressure. But if we don't, then we'll at least put a post out there talking about the results and how it went and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, we hope to maybe do that. And hey, if you're listening on or watching on Facebook right now, go ahead and comment if you got some questions or something. We'll try to get to them, but if not, we'll answer them after the show.
And these meetings will be in the evening too, when it's hopefully most convenient for folks to come after work and just spend the evening, learn a little bit, and get with some of our folks. And not necessarily, you don't have to step up to a public mic or anything like that, but we've got opportunities after the formal presentation to get off to the side and chat with us. With the team.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to make it actually after the formal. It'll be about a 20 to 30 minute presentation, and then we're going to actually break out in to smaller groups, and we'll have plenty of TWRA staff there to kind of facilitate each of the smaller groups.
Okay,
and
cool.
So yeah, if that's a concern for anyone as far as having to speak in front of a large group, that's not going to be the format of the meetings. Be smaller breakout groups.
And we may have already mentioned this, but if we haven't, let's go ahead and hit the locations again. I know we rattled them off where they are: Jackson, Murfreesboro, and Knoxville. But can you give us some details on the addresses and?
Yeah. And for those watching on Facebook, we do have Facebook events. If you could let us know if you're coming, that would be
at
or
least
if you're
going
interested.
or interested. Or,
yeah. And all this information is on there, and we have a press release on the website as well. But for the sake of convenience, the West Tennessee meeting in Jackson is at the UT Ag and Research and Education Center. It's at 605 Airways Boulevard, Suite 104, Jackson, Tennessee. The Murfreesboro meeting's at the Lane Agri-Park Auditorium. It's at 315 John R. Rice Boulevard, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And then in East Tennessee, it's at UT Knoxville in the Plant Biotech Building, and the address there is 2505 E.J. Chapman Drive, Knoxville, Tennessee.
All right. So there's quite a few opportunities. They're back to back, 7 to 9, right? 7 to 9.
Yep,
7 to 9 in all locations. And if you're in Tennessee, we are in Tennessee. If you're in the Eastern time zone, that's 7 to 9 Eastern time, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So if you can't make one of the Middle Tennessee or West Tennessee meetings and you're going to that one, make sure you take note that that'll be 6 o'clock Central for that East Tennessee meeting in Knoxville. I think this is a pretty obvious question. We're not worried about our deer herd, but that was one that I had on my list here. Are we worried about anything with the deer?
Well, outside of the threat of chronic wasting disease, and that's a worry for any state that doesn't currently have it.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like every year 1 or 2 more states gets added to that list, and so, that's kind of the big one. And as you discussed in the last meeting with Greg and Dan, we're pretty focused on that, and we're actually Tennessee is on the cutting edge of CWD prevention and surveillance, and so that's really exciting as far as our efforts in regards to chronic wasting disease. But other than that, there aren't, as far as we know, any real crises in regards to deer in Tennessee. But maybe we'll learn something at these public meetings that would suggest otherwise. But as far as we know now, we've done a little bit of engagement with stakeholder representatives prior to this, actually just a couple months ago, and it didn't seem like there were any huge
issues out there.
Yeah, which is the perfect time to develop a strategic plan. So now we have an opportunity to be proactive and continue to develop our systems, and hopefully we can keep it that way, so we don't get blindsided by an issue. So.
Right.
And not to dwell on the CWD issue, but this upcoming season, there are some changes that have been implemented by our commission.
Yes.
looking forward, trying to be proactive. And one of those is that if you harvest a cervid anywhere outside the state of Tennessee, what do you have to do before you bring it back in? I mean, it's not like you can just bring that deer back across the line without making
Right.
preparation.
Yeah, you can't just throw it in the back of the gutted deer in the back of the truck and drive it home. That's it's risky business for us and risky business for you in terms of you might lose your deer. So there are we call them carcass importation restrictions. We have a website dedicated to that. Jason, I don't have it off the top of my
And it's outlined in the hunting guide. Jason's got
hunting
it
guide.
here.
Yeah, page 30 in the hunting guide. You can go to tnwildlife.org, and it's there, or tncwdfree.org. Both of them will get you to the same spot.
Yeah, and that's the intent there is to keep Tennessee CWD free. And so, boned out meat, clean skull plate. You can bring the antlers back, but that skull plate does need to be clean, tanned hides.
Right.
Let me take a look at the list here. Clean teeth, no meat or tissue attached, finished antler products and taxidermy mounts, and the tanned hides, which I already mentioned. Yeah. So that's kind of the new normal, and more and more states are jumping on board with that, and so yeah, that's hunting in the CWD era.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to be careful. We don't want to be. You don't want to be the guy who brings it back.
Yeah.
So anyway, don't forget the main reason we're here today is strategic plan for deer management, and those meetings are coming up September 4th, September 5th, September 6th, Jackson, Murfreesboro, Knoxville. Those addresses and locations are on our website, tnwildlife.org, in the newsroom, and on our Facebook page. And all those events are 7 to 9 for the time zone that those meetings are in. So,
Yeah.
anything else you want to add before we get going?
No, thanks for having me, Jason.
Thanks for the information. Thanks for taking time out of your day to do this. Don, anything you want to add before we get out of here?
No, I just think show up for the meetings. There's going to be quite a bit of effort put into that, and I know you guys have put in a lot of hours in formulating these plans. Come take advantage of it and see what you can pick up on.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody for tuning in this week, and we hope you tune in next time right here on Tennessee WildCast. And keep coming back and check out our website, tnwildlife.org. It's the best place to stay current on all the outdoor information here in Tennessee. We'll see you guys later.
See ya.
Thanks. Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.